Well, it's just been 25 years since I guess I just want to get this back and roll on again. But it's good to come back, I think, help Donnie, but, I also want to come back for myself, too. I want to be here, so.
Well, DK was saying it didn't take much convincing to have you come back. Did you have conversations with anyone behind the scenes to come out of retirement?
Other than my wife, kids, the grandkids, but they're all real excited and happy, so it was fine with me.
You said you wanted to come back. What makes you want to come back to Major League Baseball?
Well, I guess just the love for the game. Why sit at home until 11 o'clock managing every game on TV? Might as well come here.
What role do you think you can play with Donnie?
Well, I think there's things that happen during the game, before the game, after the game, that, because Donnie's never managed, that maybe he might have a question, did I do the right thing or this, and he can run things by me. Maybe I'll mention something to him, but I think a lot of it will be Donnie asking me questions.
Take me through that moment that you initially got the call and your first reaction to it.
Well, I'm not very good at telling how my emotions, to be truthful with you, but Jim Leland and I had talked, and Jim mentioned that maybe Donnie might, and he called, and I was receptive, but I couldn't say yes right away. I had to say, think about it. And everybody mentions all the travel stuff. Well, travel's not tough to me. You get on a charter flight, walk on a bus, and you go into a real nice hotel. So, I guess I just decided, do you want to stay home, or do you want to go out there and do something you really love?
How long did you take to make the decision?
Oh, I don't know. I knew when he asked me right away, I would probably say yes. But, you ask maybe, ask my wife, and like I said, I got 2 grandkids right down the street, and so it didn't take long. I knew when he asked me that if everybody was up to it, I wanted to do it.
Do you think Donnie has what it takes to be a winner in this role, and if so, what convinces you of that?
Well, if I didn't, I surely wouldn't say it. When Donnie played with us with the Tigers, you could tell that he was a real student of the game. You never know for sure, but a lot of times you go by the questions they ask, and Donnie used to ask a lot of questions about strategy and things like that. So, I've watched him, talked to him since, and it seems to me like he's handling everything well.
Your initial thoughts of the team right now, you're jumping in May. How do you think you'll be able to help this team kind of get out of this funk, especially offensively?
Well, I don't think it's going to be up to me. I think we're a much better team than we play. I think the players know that. But, you have to do it on the field. You got to make pitches, and everybody knows we got to hit a little better. I think that we will. Sometimes it takes time, but me being here is not going to make our guys hit better. If they hit like I did, we'd be bad. We'd be in trouble. So, hopefully we get it going. I know we've lost some tough games lately. You got to win, tough games. And in the big leagues, everybody says, well, play hard. But in the big leagues, you got to play good, and we have to play better.
What do you envision your role being here? Whether it's speaking to the team, really just being in touch with Donnie, what do you think?
Well, it's more just being with Donnie. Maybe there's some decisions during the game that he wonders about, and do I have all the answers? Well, I have the answer, but they're not always right. But I'll give Donnie my opinion. I do know. I just wanted to make sure that Donnie didn't want, and Ben didn't want a guy that would give them the answers that maybe they thought that you wanted to hear. I'm going to give my opinion, and hopefully it'll help.
When you were in the manager role, what was the biggest learning moment for you?
Well, it's a long time ago. The first time I managed was in '92. I've been here with Jim Leland for 6 years. You just have to. One thing I think you have to make sure is the players. It's all about the players. And you have to manage according to who your team is. If you don't have a team that doesn't hit real well, you got to make some things happen. So, I had some good years and some bad years.
Donnie said you were one of the first people he thought of when he was thinking about filling this role. What's been, I guess, your guys' relationship since he was a player for you and everything like that? You guys stayed in touch over the years or anything like that?
No, I wouldn't say stay in touch, but when we'd see each other, we'd talk. And Donnie kind of came on the scene, as a managerial candidate at quite a few places. I think he had some reasons where he might not have taken some interviews, but I think he's probably itching and ready to go. So, I'm happy that You know, he's got a chance here, and you know we have to play good for Donnie.
Do you see any of Leland's influence just in the way Donnie kind of goes about his business?
Well, probably a little bit. I mean, you're not going to play for Jim Leland and not have it rubbed off. You know, I mean, he's got his own way, the way he gets along with people, but Jim understands the game. And I think Donnie, it looks to me like what I've seen so far, it looks like he understands it. And I think he probably learned some of that from Jim.
How long did it take for you to get 2 ejections under your belt?
Well, you know, I told Donnie the other day, I said, Donnie, I want to come back. But if I got to manage 2 out of every 4 games, I'm not coming.
It'd be like Shooter McGavin and Hoosiers don't get thrown out again.
Yeah, boy, you know, and sometimes I'm sure the second time he didn't think he was going to get thrown out. The first time I think he probably knew it, but it took me quite a while. I don't know if I'm more reserved than Donnie, and one thing for sure, I can't jump as high as he can going. So. But 2 out of 6 or 2 out of 7, that's pretty good.
Is there an act to that, an art to that when it comes to dealing with the umpire?
Well, I think Donnie will learn that. You have to, you know, every call that's missed, every little thing, you can't complain about it because they're gonna, you know, you might not get the edge. So you have to handle the umpires in a certain way.
Terry Francona is another guy who came out of retirement to be back in baseball. We'll see him in the other dugout today. Did seeing what he did kind of inspire you at all?
No. You know, but Terry was managing AA with the White Sox when I was managing the big league. So that's when he had Michael Jordan in AA. I was managing the White Sox. He's an excellent manager. Did a great job with the Indians, and you're not going to pull over anything over on him.
Gino, what's it mean to be back in your organization and so on after all these years?
Well, you know, Jim and I have talked about it. You know, it's kind of I played a little bit in the big leagues, but the Pirates really are the first organization I think about because this is where I came in '86. You know, in a real bad situation, and it's just good to get back. I love the city. The ballpark is beautiful. I told somebody that I have a spade at home that when they first started digging to open this stadium, so I have one of the spades. But I got fired, and I guess they asked me not to attend the home opening. But it's a good play. The city's great, good fans, but we're like anywhere else. You got to win to really get the fans into the game.
Team, what do you remember you guys did in '86 that kind of set the foundation or got it going in the right direction?
Well, I think when we came, you know, it was in a bad situation, and Jim just set the tone who was going to run the thing. You know, I think he had to show some older players. So he was a young manager. He had to show them that here's how we're going to do it. And I think you got to give some of the credit to Sid Thrift, who made some really, really good trades that got us going.